Ukraine has carried out the most powerful attack since the beginning of the war. Over the past 4 years, the military situation has changed radically. In February 2022, when Russia attempted to capture Kyiv, the Ukrainian army was not in its strongest condition. At that time, it was the resilience of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians, as well as weapons received from the United States during the period of Donald Trump's first term, that helped hold back the advance. These deliveries played a significant role in the initial period of the full-scale war. Today, the configuration has changed. Donald Trump halted military aid to Ukraine, stating that his intention was to encourage Kyiv to negotiate with the Russian Federation. In the absence of supplies from the United States, and given that European aid is not comparable in volume to American aid, Ukraine has intensified the development of its own missile production. One of the key companies in this process has been FirePoint. Until 2022, this entity had no connection to the defense industry. The company, which was called Centrocast, was engaged in casting and location scouting for film and television production. The co-owner of this company, Yehor Skaliha, also managed AdPoint, a firm specializing in selecting filming locations. According to the New York Times, AdPoint was involved in location scouting for the 2016 film 8 Best Dates, in which the lead role was played by, at that time, still an actor with Studio 95, and later, as we know, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. After the start of the full-scale invasion, the company's line of business changed. In the year 2025, the company, which had long been known for scouting locations for professional castings, underwent a change and became under the new name FirePoint, one of the largest and most prominent contractors currently serving the Ukrainian army. The company produces long-range strike drones FP-1 and cruise missiles FP-5 Flamingo, which is exactly what we are talking about here. The FP-1 was officially unveiled in May 2025, although they had started using them earlier. These drones are used to strike oil refinery facilities on Russian territory in regions far from the front line. The Flamingo AVP-5 missile. This is the one that first became known in August 2025, and so far it has not been launched into mass production. However, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, based on the results of the tests, it has proven to be the most successful among Ukrainian missiles. We will discuss the events related to Ukrainian strikes, their possible consequences, and the technological features of the new Ukrainian weaponry with you next. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you, as always, to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't hesitate to leave us your comments. So let's get started. On the night of February 12th, Ukrainian forces struck the arsenal of the main missile and artillery directorate of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation in the area of the settlement of Kotluban, Volgograd region. According to the official statement from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, powerful explosions followed by secondary detonations were recorded at the site. Local authorities evacuated the residents of the village of Kotluban, which is located about a kilometer from the arsenal. The General Staff's statement noted that the strike was carried out as part of systematic measures to reduce the offensive potential of the Russian aggressor. And it was carried out by units of the Ukrainian Defense Forces using long-range strike capabilities. For the first time, the use of FP-5 Flamingo cruise missiles against the territory of the Russian Federation was officially confirmed. This episode became the second officially announced instance of the use of these missiles. Previously, their use was mentioned in January during a series of attacks against the Russian Kapustin Yar training ground, where, as reported, strikes were carried out on infrastructure involved in preparations for the launch of medium-range ballistic missiles, Oreshnik. The second official report on the successful use of the FP-5 Flamingo drew attention not only to the attack itself, but also to the frequency of use of the new cruise missile. This is no longer about an isolated incident, but about a series of strikes on targets in one of the regions of the Russian Federation. This may indicate that the missile has passed the initial testing phase and is now being used in combat conditions on a regular basis. And of course, this is a major achievement for all of us. This time, the target was the arsenal of the main missile and artillery directorate near Kotluban. Both sites are located in the Volgograd region, approximately 120 kilometers apart from each other. Such a geographical coincidence, of course, draws considerable attention. Despite the previously recorded breakthrough of a Ukrainian cruise missile in this region, the strengthening of air defense systems is capable of preventing a repeat attack. Judging by the results, this has been achieved. This did not happen. At the same time, we are talking about strategically important sites that are traditionally under heavy protection. Previously, FirePoint announced plans to modernize the FP-5 Flamingo missile. In particular, they announced the addition of a system that allows the missile to fly at low altitudes. The developers did not disclose any details. However, experts consider the most likely option to be the integration of the TERCOM system. The essence of this technology lies in scanning the terrain beneath the missile using a radio altimeter or a specialized radar station and comparing the obtained data with a reference map, among other things. Flying at low altitudes gives the cruise missile an additional advantage. The lower the trajectory, the harder it is for ground-based radar stations to detect the object, since it hides behind the radio horizon. In addition, the use of TERCOM provides navigation that is, in turn, independent of satellite systems, which accordingly increases resistance to electronic warfare measures. Apart from the strike on the Grayu arsenal during these same days, Ukraine's defense forces reported hitting other targets as well. A strike was carried out on an enterprise in the city of Michurinsk, Tambov region, the Michurinsk Progress Plant, which manufactures high-tech equipment for aviation and missile systems. According to preliminary information, a fire broke out on the premises of the enterprise and the extent of the damage is being clarified. This is being clarified. There were also reports of strikes on ammunition depots in the temporarily Russian-occupied territories of Zaporizhzhia region, in the area of the settlement of Terpinia and near Rozivka. Additionally, damage to the Volgograd oil refinery in the Volgograd region was confirmed. As a result of the strike on February 11th, the main primary oil processing unit was damaged. Elements of the AVT-3 and infrastructure facilities were also affected. A decrease in load or even a complete shutdown was recorded at the list of secondary processing units. Also, on February 12th, the defense company FirePoint published a video of the launch of FP-5 Flamingo cruise missiles at one of the largest arsenals of the Russian Ministry of Defense in the Volgograd region. The relevant footage was posted on social media by the co-owner and chief designer of the company, Denis Shtylerman. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine this time, the arsenal near Kotluban is one of the largest ammunition storage sites of the Russian army and is located approximately 400 kilometers from the state border of Ukraine. Powerful explosions with subsequent secondary detonations were recorded on the territory of the facility. The final scale of the damage is currently being clarified. The Russian Ministry of Defense has officially confirmed for the first time the use of missiles on the territory of the Russian Federation. According to the agency's data, which they provide, 5 missiles were shot down by Russian air defense, as reported by their state agency TASS. At the same time, in the video published by Shtylerman, 6 launches of Flamingo missiles were recorded. The discrepancy between the number of missiles shot down, as stated by the Russian Ministry of Defense, and the number of launches recorded in the published video became a separate topic of discussion. According to the agency, 5 missiles were destroyed by air defense systems. At the same time, in the video recording published and posted by Denis Shtylerman, 6 launches of FP-5 Flamingo can be seen. Final data on the number of missiles that reached their targets has not been officially specified. At the same time, the Ukrainian side reported powerful explosions and subsequent secondary detonations on the arsenal's territory, which indirectly indicates a hit. And here it should be added that back in December 2025, in an interview with the BBC, Denis Shtylerman noted that ballistics alone are not capable of changing the rules of the game in the war. However, it is a tool that Ukraine lacks. These words were spoken before the second officially confirmed use of the Flamingo and reflected the developer's position regarding the role of missile systems. In modern conflicts, the story of FirePoint is notable for the company's transformation over a rather short period of time. In 2022, at the time of the full-scale invasion, the company was called Centrocast and was engaged in casting for film and television production. The co-owner of this company, FirePoint, which we are talking about now, Yehor Skaliha, was simultaneously running AdPoint, a company specializing in location scouting and filming. After 2022, the company's management decided to focus on developing drones. Besides Skaliha, the key figures also included the following individuals: Denis Shtylerman, a businessman with a technical background who took on the role of chief designer and architect, as well as architect Irina Terek, who previously worked in the field of street furniture and became the company's technical director. And according to Shtylerman, after the war began, he and his friends started helping the armed forces of Ukraine with drones and encountered a shortage of ready-made solutions on the market. This became the starting point for creating their own production. By August 2025, according to Irina Terek, FirePoint was producing up to 100 FPV-1 drones per day. Their cost for the army was $55,000 per unit. The FPV-1 was officially presented in May 2025, although in reality they began using them much earlier. These drones were used to strike oil refinery facilities in regions of Russia far from the front line. According to Kyiv Independent, among more than 500 Ukrainian drone manufacturers receiving state funding, FirePoint is undoubtedly the leader. A former Ukrainian official with access to defense contracts told the publication that the company holds key positions in the industry. Another source, familiar with FirePoint's business, said that this year the company expects to earn over $1 billion from government contracts. And according to documents reviewed by the Kyiv Independent, last year FirePoint sold FPV-1 drones worth $320 million. This amount was just under a third of this year's budget of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense for unmanned systems. We hope that our production of our missiles, cruise, ballistic, and drones will continue to develop and that they will be used very successfully on the territory of the Russian Federation. That's all we have time to tell you for now. Like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next broadcasts. My name is Anastasia Husarieva. Stay safe, wash your hands, and bye everyone.